Hello and welcome to the course. My name is David Capretis, and today I'm going to be demonstrating implementing an application level session hijacking. So in this current scenario, what we're going to see is three separate machines. Just to basically go over and show you the topology, there's three different labs. Now the first one is PLABSA01 with the IP of 192.168.0.1. This is the main machine that we're going to be hijacking. Now the two other sessions, the other IPs are 192.168.0.4 and also 192.168.0.3. Notice that these two we can call a client that's going to basically implement to the server of which we're hijacking. So let's further dive into this. So in the first step, connecting to PLABSA01, we're going to see the server manager, which is fine. We can ignore that. Now with XAMPP, this is a proper tool that we're going to be utilizing to implement the Apache and also Tomcat. So as you can see, port 80 and 443 are necessary, primarily port 80. So just for all sakes and purposes, we're going to start all of these, regardless of the ports. This is just common practice. Okay, now once we do that, let's go ahead and skip. So now that we have this running, okay, we don't have to worry about this. Primarily, we're only worried about the Apache server and also Tomcat. So let's start this again. Not a big deal. Okay, so now what we want to do is that now that this is configured, we want to go back to Windows 10, which is PLAB Win10. So you'll see that in the practice labs, it logs me in as through an administrator, which is great. Now through this, what we'd like to do is go here, click on the start bar, and one tool that's primarily included is the Burp Suite free edition. There is paid editions, etc. This is just a simple script running in the background. So let's go ahead and give this a few seconds and see what happens. So when Burp Suite is loaded, initially what we want to do here, give this a few more seconds. Is we want to accept the license agreement. We want to use this as a temporary project, and then we're going to click next. We're going to use the burp defaults, and now we're going to start the burp. Now once this initiates, I'll dive into further understanding of how we're going to enable this to capture the session ID and the cookie. So right now you'll see plenty of tabs on top. What we're going to do primarily is click on the proxy tab and go to the options. And now under the proxy listeners, you're going to see an interface of 127.0.0.1.8080. We want to edit this. And what we want to do is simply bind the port, just state port 8888. Now we want to not only loop back only to this, we want to do this for all interfaces and all virtual machines. So we're going to click OK. We're going to confirm this. Now when we scroll down, we're going to go to intercept server responses. And under the server responses, we want to intercept responses based on the following rules. This is fine. Okay, so now after that's done, basically what we're going to do is go back down. And now we want to configure Firefox. So I'm going to minimize this. Launch Firefox. We don't need to import anything at this present time. Of course, we don't need to worry about the Windows firewall. This is just for exemplification. So the privacy policy, we can close out of this. We don't need to update this at the present time. But what we do need is we need to click on this icon here and go to options. Now once you go to the options bar, you're going to see plenty of different aspects here. If we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see simply the network proxy. Here we're going to click on settings, and now we're going to put a manual proxy configuration. Now that configuration is 127.0.0.1, and the port, as we specified earlier, is going to be 8888. And we also want to utilize this for all protocols, meaning to follow for all the other virtual machines. So we're going to click on OK. We're going to close out of the options. And now as a test, what we're going to do is we're going to go to an application that's stored on Cyber server. So let's go back here, HTTP 192.168 .0.1 slash dvwa slash login .php. Now once I click on enter, you're going to notice that most times, in fact, if anything, every time a page is loaded, you're going to see this go ahead and instantly respond. Now, because we have the intercept value here, what we're going to do is go back to intercept, and you'll notice right now this is pausing, simply for the fact that we're recording all the data, especially the session ID. So if I keep on clicking on forward, we'll give this a few seconds. Right, you're going to see this is the session ID that we want to hijack. Notice how these are the same. So we'll click forward again. And now if I go here, it's brought me into the actual login page. So I'm going to go ahead and put my username and my password. And once I click on login, we don't need to save this. Again, nothing is going to load until I click on, because right now, again, the Burp Suite is the actual application that's utilizing and monitoring this. So we'll click on forward. Let's copy the session ID. Forward again. We don't need to worry about this clipboard here. Let's go ahead and forward it. Common protocol. Now if I go back here, I'm simply logged into, this is an application called Welcome to Damn Vulnerable Web Application. Now here, based on the Cybrary Pro membership, there's a lot of tools of which you can utilize. Now what we want to do right now, since this has intercepted everything, what we'd like to do at this point in time is we want to hijack the session. So in PLAB SA01, what we want to do is we want to hijack this. So as a prerequisite to perform this, we need to configure Burp Suite as well. So what I'm simply going to do is search. Let's go to Burp Suite Free Edition. We'll give this a few seconds to load. Again, temporary project. Use Burp defaults. We're going to go back to the options here. We're going to edit this again. Same thing, it's going to be 80, 80, 80. We're going to loop to all interfaces and click OK. Confirm, yes, not a problem. Now, intercepting everything is going to be the same as demonstrated in the PLAB Win10. Let's click on this. Now we're going to minimize this. And now again, we're going to open up Mozilla Firefox. We're not going to import anything at this point in time. Click on next. And let this load. We don't need to update this at this point in time. This is a virtual machine. Now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go to HTTP 192.168.0.1 slash dvwa slash login.php. Click on OK. And press enter. Now, if we refresh this, give this a second. Now, what we need to do is we need to inject the set cookie parameter into the PLAB SA01 device. So inject this, what we have to do is we have to go to the Burp Suite. And again, we're going to put the password. We're not going to save it here. Okay, everything is working here.